Welcome to Woodshop 101. This is episode 154 for April 29th, 2019. I'm Sam Wooddell of SamRyan Designs, and today I'm joined by my co-host Drew Short of Rockin' H Woodshop and our special guest host Aaron Massey of Mr. Fix It DIY. What's up, guys?
What's happening?
How's it going?
So excited to have you on, Aaron. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Of course. We would also love to thank our patrons, John Ramminger, Sean McHenry, Carl Mose, Neil Sims, Eric Rhoten, Earl from the Rustic Saw, and Kenneth Aponte. Thank you guys so much. We truly appreciate it. If you want to become a patron to our Patreon campaign, then head over to patreon.com/woodshop101. All of our patrons receive an after show twice a month as a benefit. You can also support the show by purchasing some podcast swag, which we have a new logo now, so that's really exciting, from countrysideworkshop.com/shop. While you are at it, go leave us a 5-star rating on the podcast player of your choice. And we would also like to thank our sponsors of today's episode, Organic Recreations Woodshop. They are amazing. You can head over to the link in the show notes to check out all of their stuff. They've done so many amazing logos. They've done mine and then our new one. So definitely go give them a look. So this is our new section of our show, Aaron, and it is, sorry, my animal is trying to get in. It's fast and quick questions so we can get to know you. So
Okay.
If you want to give a quick little brief intro to yourself, then we're going to ask you some crazy questions.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so my name's Aaron Massey. I've been running MrFixItDIY.com for several years. I kind of started it as a YouTube channel just based around kind of home improvement and woodworking, and it kind of evolved into its own website and blog and Instagram and all that jazz. And I'm a former reality TV producer turned maker guy, although I grew up doing it, so I can't really say that I turned towards being a maker, but I grew up doing all that stuff. But professionally, I was a reality TV producer and then kind of shifted towards YouTube and digital media back in the early heyday of YouTube. I've been doing stuff ever since.
What was early heyday for you? Like what year did you finally decide, hey?
2007.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was a lot earlier than me.
Yeah.
Well, it was the early, I think it might have been 2000, could have been 2008 or something. Right around there is when I started doing stuff. I was doing sketch comedy back then, oddly enough.
Cool.
Huh. That was around the time that Spagnolo, I think, picked it up, too, was around 2006 and 7.
Yeah, the early days. I mean, it had just started like in 2005 or whatever it was.
That's really cool. I know I remember you telling me about you being a producer. So that goes with my question. So now we know a little bit about Aaron. He is awesome. He has an Instagram. He has amazing tips and tricks. So definitely go check him out. So I'll go into the first question since it has to do with being a producer. Worst story from being a producer.
Worst story?
Or like any like hard person to work with or anything like that.
One night I was working on Survivor, and we got stuck away from camp because of so I was with the tribe. I was a producer on the beach, and we got stuck away from camp because of like a monsoon, and it had like flooded out we were coming back from tribal council, and we just got stuck basically in the pouring rain all night long because we couldn't get back to camp.
No.
It was kind of miserable.
Yeah, sounds miserable.
So we were just stuck sitting in the rain, and yeah. They don't smell particularly good at that time. So this was later on in the season.
I was going to say, did you have like a palm frond over your head just to keep yourself from getting wet?
Pretty much.
Oh my goodness, that's
kind of sat there for, most of the night. But I mean, it wasn't that different than most nights, I'll be honest, because I mean, we you sit out in the rain all the time, but
yeah. Well, so I have another question to go with that real quick, because I know we have to be quick with these questions. But what would you eat? So I know, like, the people that were participating in the show, they didn't get that much to eat. Would, like, the producers and the people, like, working on the show eat stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not around them though.
I was about to say, it's like,
which is like eat a donut or something super delicious in front of them as they're eating nasty stuff.
That's frowned upon.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But them bugs are tasting good, aren't they?
Yeah. Because if you were eating that in front of me, I'd like tackle you for it because
exactly. Well, they would do the same thing. They would do the same thing. There's been some creative stories that I've heard, random stuff that has come up over the years where people try to be creative and sneak food and all that, but so you're not allowed to have anything around a hungry tribe.
Oh yeah, very.
Bite your hand off.
Yeah.
Okay. So Aaron, okay, let's see. Was your dad a handyman type of guy? I mean, where did you learn your skills from?
Yeah, so my dad was a realtor originally, but he grew up doing construction and stuff as well. But he was a real estate agent, and so he would kind of find these, fixer-uppers and stuff that nobody wanted on the market, and he would kind of buy them up, and we would go in and flip them or, fix them up, and he would rent them and all that type of stuff. So that's kind of where I got my whole, I would say, well-rounded approach to doing everything. So I was doing roofing, plumbing, electrical, didn't really matter. We were doing everything. So
awesome.
Yeah, so I picked it up from him, and I grew up doing that, like my whole high school, all the way up through college. I worked one other real job once at a golf course in a pro shop for about 5 weeks.
Not your cup of tea, huh?
And that was it, yeah. And pretty much everything else, I was working for him or for somebody that he knew. I was a professional roofer for a little while. I was professional. I was kind of a lackey, but I was doing roofing.
You got paid for it, though. That's professional.
Yeah, I guess so. Paid very little as a kid, as a high school age kid, but
that's awesome. You sound like Gramps. Gramps worked on houses when he was in high school, and then he went to college, and then when he came home from in the summer, his father-in-law would work on houses and built houses and did everything in the house. So that's how he learned how to do everything. Mm-hmm. And then he took it kind of in a woodworking direction. But he does everything around our house. So. Yeah. So that's awesome. So since Jeremy's not here, I will ask his question. What is your favorite project to work on?
Oh, that's huge. There's such a huge list. I mean, I like building things from the ground up, like framing stuff, like building a shed or something like that, like just to see something start from nothing and build something like a actual structure. That's probably my favorite. But then I also like little, shop projects and stuff are also fun, where you just kind of make something that doesn't take too long. You just kind of tinker and make something quick. Yeah. So I kind of like both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, that would be cool to do a shed, because it's like nothing, and then you have like a little room and a roof.
Yeah, I just built a pretty big one recently.
Mm-hmm.
Not for me.
I think you put it on your Instagram, right? It was on social media. Yes, maybe.
Yeah, I put like a time lapse of kind of built, and then my camera died, and I missed like the second half of it.
That's the worst.
Need a battery backup.
Yeah. Okay, so this is my second question. If you could move anywhere in the world, where would you move? And you can't pick where you live. Okay, good.
Costa Rica is really nice. I visited there a few years ago. I mean, I've been to a lot of different places, but Costa Rica was really nice.
Nice. Tropical. That's where I would go.
It's a little sweaty, though. It gets pretty hot.
I was about to say humidity's probably out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you're right by the beach, it's not so bad.
Yeah, you're good.
All right. What is your favorite go-to burger joint?
Well, I mean, if the West Coast guy and me from being in LA, I'd have to say In-N-Out now. Because
that's always people's answer.
Well, you have to. I mean, otherwise people disown you, you know. Well, honestly, there was a place that I really liked back home in upstate New York, which is where I'm originally from, called Bill Gray's. And it's not really anything special, but they have like a spicy, like hot sauce, like a meat-based hot sauce that they put on it. It's really good.
Is it like their own sauce? They make it?
Yeah. Well, Rochester, like where I'm from, like Rochester, New York, upstate New York, is known for a thing called the garbage plate. Have you ever heard of a garbage plate?
Yes, I've heard of that.
No.
It's pure gluttony, but yeah, that's kind of what the area is known for.
That's awesome.
It's just as it sounds. It's just basically
It's just a pile of.
platter
I mean, it's a pile of meat and macaroni salad and French fries and
Yum. That
all
sounds
sorts
so
of stuff
good.
just piled all in one.
That sounds awesome. I want that. And I'm super hungry right now, so that sounds really good. Okay, well, since we're talking about food, and Jeremy's second question is, what is your favorite type of food?
Mexican.
Yes.
Yeah.
We just got done talking about that.
So it's weird. It's like one of those things. I love all different kinds of food. Like I love Thai, I love pizza, I love, Italian, all that stuff. But I feel like I could do Mexican pretty much every day. Which I do. The other ones are more like, every once in a while you can kind of eat them, but I could do.
Yeah, Mexican is so good. I could do it every day, I think. And like different things. Like I could have quesadillas one day and fajitas the next day and enchiladas and then soft tacos and then like I make this Mexican casserole. Do you like cornbread?
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever had this, but it is so good. I'll send you the recipe. It is like now my favorite Mexican dish. I do like ground beef and you like just brown the ground beef and then you like mix in black beans, corn, the Rhoten, some tomato sauce and like taco seasoning and then that's it, I think. Yeah, that's it. And then you like let that simmer and then you put it in a glass pan and then you put cornbread on top with corn in the cornbread and you put it in the oven to bake. Oh my gosh, that thing is so bad for you, so you can only eat it like once a year, but it is so good. Oh, and you put cheese in between. Oh my gosh, your kids will love it because you have kids, right?
I have one. Yeah, I have one. He's 18 months old, so he's a little young.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Force feed him.
Give him the cornbread. It will make him,
You'll
nice
love
and
it.
muscular. Yeah, that's right. I totally forgot he's little. Okay, yeah, so he won't like that, but you will like it. I'll send it to you.
It sounds delicious. I'm all in.
I'm gonna send it to you so you guys can make it.
Can't go wrong with Mexican food. I mean,
No, you can't.
Can't go wrong at all.
That's why I picked up Chipotle because I knew I was running late. All right, so now we asked all of the questions, and you got to learn a little bit about Aaron, and we'll just kind of go into what's in our shops, what we're working on, and kind of talk about that. So, Aaron, if you want to talk about what's going on in your shop or what are you working on?
Sure. So there's a little bit of a two-part question. I'm in the middle of remodeling my office, which is like attached to my shop. So my shop is pretty much a disaster of tools and materials and just a complete mess right now, which I hate. Drives me absolutely nuts. But it seems like it happens every single time. And but in the midst of that, I'm also working on kind of a rush project for a friend of mine. It's a CNC'd like sign thing for a friend of mine's doing if you're in the Seattle area and you're free, I don't know if it's still available or not, but he's an ultra runner, and they have this big race going on up in somewhere outside of Seattle. And so he asked me, they have this big finish line arch, and he asked me if I could do like their logo CNC'd, like a big version of it up on the archway. And I was like, sure, when do you need it? He's like, next weekend. I'm like, oh. Cool. And then I'm traveling, like I leave to go out of town for a few days tomorrow, so it's like I'm gonna have to like overnight it. And I started doing some stuff with it today, and it was kind of a little bit of a fail. So
oh man,
then I have to go back to the drawing board, and
yeah,
as soon as I get back from being out of town, I'm gonna have to like hit the ground running and try and get it knocked out. But
isn't that the worst when they're like, oh, I actually need it in like 2 hours. Can you do it?
I mean, normally I would say no, but
it's a friend.
Yeah, it's a friend.
I know, friends.
Trying my best.
Oh yeah, I do the same thing for friends and family. When it's a client and I don't, know them, I always say, okay, here's the time frame. I can't do it, or there's like a rush charge. But for family and friends, I always will like kill myself getting it ready for them.
Right.
And that's what you do for family and friends. So.
Pretty much.
Drew, what do you have going on?
Well, I am about halfway done with that solid hickory table. I've still got to spray the bench and the table whenever it's done. And then as soon as that's over, this week I've got to pick up all the alder that I need to make those 5 tabletops for that restaurant. He's got a soft opening, kind of like not a grand opening, but he is opening his business around the second week of May. Mm-hmm. So I've got to knock out those tabletops fairly quickly and get them sprayed so they can be picked up. And if I'm not quite done with the table, then I just got to put it off. But I really got to get those tabletops done before anything real big happens.
Yeah.
And then after that, I got to make that L-shaped banquette to go along with this table. And I just signed a Murphy bed contract. And I've got a cabinet and shelving unit contract that I'm currently working on closing. So got quite a bit going on right now.
Yeah, definitely. That's a lot. I am totally slacking in like writing my contracts, which it's not like a million weeks out or whatever, but my favorite lumberyard just closed down. Ew. So I'm like, oh gosh, now I got to find a new lumberyard. And I went to a different lumberyard and it was a mess. Like you had to dig through like a bunch of different species of wood to find the wood you wanted. And then they would like move stuff out in like the back, like behind the building. And it's shoved in there so hard that you can't pull it out.
So is this the one that you had on your stories not too long ago?
Yes.
That was
Did you see how? Yes. And I don't like that. I like going in and being able to like look at my boards and it's like kind of somewhat organized. I don't mind if it's not super organized, but like you saw that. Mm-hmm. I mean, that it was waiting to like fall over on you.
I know. So they just had them sitting on the ground, kind of leaned up against the wall, and they weren't organized in any kind of fashion, it seemed like.
No. And they do flooring, so I think that's mainly what they do is hardwood floors. So the other lumberyard is like 40 minutes away, so I just have to like plan the trip now, I guess, which totally stinks. But they deliver. So actually the guy that worked at my favorite lumberyard that was like 10 minutes from like the shop, which I was spoiled. There is another one like 5 minutes from the shop, but their prices are outrageous. So they do deliver, but I've like been slacking.
They deliver to neighborhoods, like residents?
Yeah, they will.
See, mine won't. That bugs me. They won't deliver to residents.
That's frustrating. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe they don't actually, but maybe because I knew him from before. But I'll ask him because I swear he said that they deliver. But that is frustrating.
Yeah. Well, I think my place is about 30 minutes away because it's in North Oklahoma City and I'm on the south side of Oklahoma City. So I got to drive all the way through the city to the north side just to get my lumber. So. But it is very organized, though.
Yeah, see, it's nice when the lumberyard is organized, so it definitely
maybe they'll airdrop it for you.
I know, right? That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I know. That is like the one thing having, like, I didn't realize how lucky I was and blessed that I had a like lumberyard like 5 to 10 minutes from my house, that if I needed something I could run there real quick. And now that it's gone, I feel like I'm not taking any contracts. Nope. And don't ask me for like an oak table or a walnut table because I don't know where to get the wood right now. I'm just kidding. But I do. But that's I'm funny. Just lazy.
Can you do this? Nope.
Sorry. Nope. Sorry. But I do have 2 tables coming up. So I have an oak table that she needs it by the beginning of June because she's hosting a baby shower at her house. So I need to make sure I get stepping on it. And it's an outdoor table, but it's going in a screened-in porch that nothing, no water or anything or whatever gets on it. And then you can, like, the screens go away and you can put up something and make it like a room in the winter. So we're going with oak. She was looking at a Restoration Hardware table that was made of teak. And I was like, well, I can't match that price because the price of teak here is insane and it's hard on your tools or your blades and stuff. So I was like, well, I'm sorry, I can't like give you that price. And we could do oak. Oak, white oak will be fine outside, or it's not really outside, but it will be fine. So it's a circle table, which I'm really excited. I haven't really done a large circle table. I did that fire pit cover, but I'm excited to, get the circle jig out.
What's large?
So she hasn't decided yet, but I gave her 2 prices, either 48 or 60.
Ooh.
Diameter, yeah.
60's big. I mean, that's how big this table is. It's a 5 foot by 6 foot. So it's a hefty table, and it's 1.5 inches thick. So, be prepared.
We're doing
oak table.
1.5 inches. Yep.
It's going to be heavy, yeah.
It's going to be heavy. I know you guys should have seen me. I should have filmed it today because I had to move that 3/8 thick 5x5 piece of plywood, so the 60-inch by 60-inch piece of plywood by myself because my grandpa wasn't there today. And so you should have seen me. I should have filmed it because I literally looked like my arm span doesn't reach, and like it's so awkward. I'm like, okay, I don't know, like where am I going? And I didn't even think to like get the furniture dollies and like move it with the furniture dollies. Mm-hmm. And then like we have also that like handle thing for the plywood. I didn't even think to do that. So I literally like would set it like this, and then I'd flip it on the like a cube, until I got to where I needed. And then I'm like, okay, crap. How do I get it up on the sawhorses? So I leaned it up against the sawhorses, and like it's heavy. So my sawhorses are moving, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I said some bad words. And then I was like, how do I do this? Then I put my boot under it, and then I was able to like get a corner up. But I mean, it took me like 20 minutes. So I should have recorded it because it would have been hilarious.
You should have time-lapsed it. That's a lot to move a piece of plywood.
Yeah, because I was like, what? Like, I just wasted a lot of time doing that. I should have just waited until my grandpa got home. And if you have met me in person, I'm not very tall. So I'm like 5'3", and with my boots on, I'm like probably 5'4". So, I mean, I'm short. Like, it was just not good. Anyways, that was fun. But then after that table, I have another table and then some built-ins and another table. So it will be good. But I just need to like buckle up and just go out to that lumberyard and stop being lazy. So it will be good. It will be fun.
That's good. Well, I had a little epiphany today whenever I was working on this table because I have a router plane that I was using to shave the tenons, the integral tenons for the breadboard ends down smooth where the breadboard could just go on. And that top was glued up and clamped, so it was, like I said, so heavy, and I can't move it by myself. And I had it on my assembly table, and the tenons were on one end and the other end. So I couldn't get to those tenons down there because my table saw was in the way. So I brought my daughter in, and I said, honey, I want you to take this furniture dolly, and I'm going to pick this thing up. I'm going to have you put that under there. And she said, okay. So I picked it up, and she slid it under there, and I set it back down, and I was able to twist the whole thing around on my assembly table so I could get to the other side. I was like, smarter, not harder. I like it.
Lazy Susan.
That's
the Lazy
right.
Susan assembly table.
That is the heaviest assembly table you'll ever have.
That's awesome. I know, those kids come in handy when you need something. So, but, well, since we have kind of a topic for tonight, but we have about 20 minutes left in this show, and we thought it would be fun to talk to Aaron about companies and maintaining a relationship. He has worked with a bunch of people. I saw his presentation at Workbench. I didn't even say that right. What did I just say? Not
Workbench.
Yeah.
How's that Workbench?
Yeah, I was there, guys. It's yeah. Anyways, but I saw him at Workbench. He had an amazing
Presentation
and those things you give companies with all the work you've done.
Oh, media kit?
Oh, yes, a media kit. Thank you. It's because I haven't eaten.
Oh, media kit.
His media kit's really good.
Aaron's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. What are we talking about? And he has maintained relationships with people. So I thought it would be fun to kind of go around and, like, we can all give kind of our 2 cents about it. So.
About his media kit?
No, about maintaining relationships.
I'm just playing with you.
I know. Thanks a lot, Drew.
Yeah, the presentation that I gave at Workbench Con was all about, basically that exact same thing. Is about building lasting brand relationships. And I did it with Carhartt so that we could kind of show both sides of the coin, from the creator side and from the brand side. Because I feel like there's this barrier, kind of this invisible barrier between, brands and creators that doesn't really need to be there. It's like we're both trying to figure it out. So why not just be transparent about it? And so it was a fun presentation, and we talked about what it is that they look for in partnerships, and what it is that I look for in partnerships as a creator, and how to build kind of those longevity relationships where maybe you're not always actively being paid by a brand or something, but you're always the first on their mind, or budgets and stuff change all the time, and so things, or different marketing initiatives change all the time, and so you have those personal relationships with those people at those companies. They're more likely to kind of call on you, as opposed to some of the other stuff that's out there where a brand will, you might do some kind of brand package, some kind of video presentation for some company or something, but you never hear from them again. And it's like, okay, maybe they paid you a little bit of money for an Instagram post or for whatever it is, but I mean, it doesn't really have any longevity or any legs to it. So I'm not interested in that from a business perspective. I'm interested in, the long term, the long haul. And so establishing lasting brand relationships is really the only way to do that, because there's only so many brands in this space,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all the presentation was about. And yeah, so a media kit is a big thing that I do, just to kind of package myself and present myself, because ultimately, to a lot of brands, you are just kind of a number, and what your audience is, and what you've done and all that stuff, which to me I think is wrong. I just think there's so many quality creators and stuff out there that maybe don't have the numbers that some other people do, and I don't feel like digital numbers are authentic anyway. So I have a problem with that, and I tend to think, the quality of the content should dictate what you do, not, or what you're worth, not what
the number,
your audience size is.
Yep.
So for me, I focus on creating as quality of content I can for whatever that client is, whoever that person is that I'm partnering with, and try and present it to the audience in a way that is, true or authentic to me or my brand. And sometimes you say no to stuff that just doesn't feel like a good fit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've worked with a lot of brands over the years. Some things have been really good. Some have been okay. Some have been not so good. Some brands I probably won't work with again, but some brands, most brands have been great to work with that I've worked with in the past.
Is there something that you have done working with brands that you kind of learned the hard way that maybe have been a mistake?
Yeah, I mean, part of my thing and part of what I said in my Workbench Con thing was knowing on the front end what the brand expects of you, because I started doing this a lot, and because of the nature of the algorithms on each platform, you don't know what your videos or what your content's going to do. I mean, you could think that you're putting out the best piece of content you've ever done, and then you're like, oh, it totally fell flat on its face, and you don't know why. And it could be something totally behind the scenes, or some random change an engineer made on the platform that day, or who the hell knows, or some reality TV star got married that day, and that just dominated this whatever. Who the hell knows? Like, you really don't know what all it is. So you can only control your quality of content. And I've made a mistake a few times of not kind of making that clear to brands on the front end, that I don't control the reach. And I can only control what I can control, which is what the video looks, sounds, and the content is. But I can't control the reach. I can hope that my audience goes and sees it and watches it, and I can do my best to promote it or push it or try to do all that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, I have no control over the numbers. Mm-hmm. And so when a brand, has a level of expectation, and you didn't know what they were expecting on the front end. Now, if a brand tells me that, I just say no right off the bat. Mm-hmm. I just say, no, I have no control. I don't know what the numbers are going to be.
And I'm not going to sit here and worry about,
Yeah. I'm not promised that your video is going to get 100,000 views, or, I'm not going to build in things into a contract that say, I have to reach X number of stuff. Because, no, I'm not going to do it. I don't need you that much. I don't need you that bad. So not communicating with the brand that you're working with on the front end to kind of to know what they're looking for and to know what you're expecting. I made that mistake a few times early on with some brands. But then on the flip side, I've had other brands that, didn't expect that much, and the videos did extremely well. So it's hard to say.
Yeah, it is hard to say. And I never really thought of that. If something crazy happened in all of the royal wedding, okay, you put out a video that same day. Obviously it's not gonna, it will maybe take the audience that way. Or a hashtag that you normally use, happens to get used by somebody else for something totally unrelated, but because you have this, it's silly stuff. Crazy. Where it could either, propel your stuff forward or tank it. You just don't know. That's like you said, the algorithm, it's crazy. So you just don't know. People
say, everybody wants answers for how things work, but the only thing you ever get is best practices. That's all people say. Best practices. Because it's do this because it's traditionally kind of works.
Yeah. There's no book on how to do Instagram. Nobody knows how to do Well,
There are people that seem to know.
Yes.
They think they're the authority.
But also you don't I don't know. Sometimes why does one post do so well, and you use the same hashtags and you do this and you do that and you think it's the same quality of content, and then it just tanks. You have no control. And some of the companies I've worked with, I definitely agree with building a relationship. I don't want to just come in and do one thing for you and get paid and then never talk to you again. So many people work with companies, and I never really worked with a company. I talked with companies, but I didn't work with them until
last year.
Last year, yeah. I just was building my brand, and I was worrying about my what I was doing. So what I tell people, because I get this question a lot, how do I, talk to brands? First, talk to them. And if it's something that you actually use, I'm not going to go out of my way for something that I've never used before or try and go and get them. because I've never used it. I don't even know if I like it. So I feel like a lot of people try and just get anyone and everybody. And I just want to work with the companies that I know that I truly believe in. And then I want to build a strong relationship with. I want to have an ongoing relationship. And like Aaron said, I don't have to take money. I want to be there, and I want you to know that I'm here, and I'm here because I love their company and their product, not because I want the money. Like, I want to build a relationship, an lasting relationship, because I just did a campaign with a company, but I went through a marketing agency, and I was sitting at Workbench and I was negotiating the deal while Aaron was giving his talk. And he said something that he does not like the marketing agencies, and he's had some bad goes with them. And then me and my mom like looked at each other and we were like, oh crap, like, are we about to just get like totally housed with this campaign? And the campaign was for a great company. You know, I use them daily. My audience wanted this. So I didn't go out looking for them. It actually was just so random that it just actually worked perfectly. A bunch of my audience wanted to see how I put together my presentations. And then this company reached out to me. Well,
how'd that go?
The marketing agency, here we go. I will say it was not worth the money that I did. I love the company, the actual company, but that marketing agency, it made me feel so like, it would make me so mad because I would work hard on my content and then they would rip it apart on the tiniest little things, like rip it apart. The lighting is not good enough. Well, the lighting's really bright. They can see a tiny, tiny little shadow up in the corner, and they would make me redo it. And then I'd be like, I'm not redoing it. Like, it was just the biggest headache. I was super stressed out. It's not worth the money. It's not worth my time. Like you said, I don't want to work with someone just one and done. I want to build a relationship. I want to be like on the same page with each other. They just did not know how to like reach my audience, and they like emphasized organic in the beginning. They drew me in because they seemed really chill and really relaxed, and they were totally fine with whatever, you just need to hit these points. Well, no, it wasn't that. So make sure when you are talking with someone, if you are going through a marketing agency, if you really want to do it, make sure that what they want is legit what they're telling you, because what I found out was we negotiated one certain thing and they changed they became a completely different person. So
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde agency.
Yeah, I was angry.
That was a big part of my talk at Workbench Con was warning people about those, because I mean, the reality of the situation is, like, there may be, like, whoever let's say the marketing rep at the company that you were actually working, like, doing the brand for, that person may have been just super chill and was totally fine with what you did the first go round, but it never even got to them because this other person had to like justify their role and like try to do what they wanted it to be or to do whatever. And if you don't have a direct point of contact with the brand that you are supposed to be working for, that deal is gonna suck. Because honestly, you've done nothing in the eyes of that brand to build a longer term relationship. Like, you don't even know who that person was. Like, was it Mary Johnson at whatever Kraft mac and cheese? Like, you don't even have a name for the company that, like, the rep. So you just have whoever this agency or whatever person is that reached out to you, and they're just like a revolving door of people that just go in and out of those roles. And there's a new one every day. It's some level of like some stupid name. It's like, oh, we are a influencer marketing agency. Bullshit. You're not anything. You're just a company with just trying to interject yourself as a middleman to link people when you can do all the same stuff that they do via a direct message on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, get the hell out of here. And you don't even know, like, you know, this was the thing that this has happened forever. Like, multi-channel networks was a big thing in YouTube. I've been involved in YouTube for a long time, so I know kind of the rise and fall of that business model, which you guys should kind of deep dive on that one time and see how effed up things got during that. But it's the same thing. It's basically these companies have become middlemen, and they try to put a barrier between the creator and the brand that has to go through this middleman. And that's why on my panel that I did with Carhartt was like, I want to break down that barrier. There's no reason for that. And as Workbench Con builds, and as more money flocks to the maker space and all that stuff, you're going to see more and more of these. And they're going to spend money at these events to be sponsors. And they're going to show up there, and they're going to have booths, and they're going to have this, and they're going to try and like link creators up with brands and promise that they can deliver you to these brands. And unfortunately, some of the brands that aren't kind of wise to it will bite on it. Yeah. And they'll work through this. And what these brands will do is that they'll be charged, I don't know, arbitrarily, let's just say, they're going to do a $10,000 brand deal, and the creator, the actual person who is doing all the work, i.e. you, is going to get
$1,000.
8% of that.
Yes.
And they're going to say, "Oh, this is a great deal for you." Meanwhile, the middleman is going to pocket the lion's chunk of the change because they have this stupid overhead because they hire 50 people to do nothing. I told you this was part of my talk at Workbench.
It's so funny because I literally signed the contract like an hour before you did your talk, and I will have to say what you just said about the barrier, it was funny because they wanted to teach me something. So the company wanted to teach me something, the actual company. So I actually got the email and a phone number for them, only because the lady that was working with me on the marketing at the marketing place couldn't be there, and they needed it done by a certain time. So it was funny because she tried so many different things to not get us to work not to get us in contact with each other. Okay, well, now we're in contact with each other, and they said they loved my content. They thought it was great. It was organic. It totally was true to you. Well, then, like a week later, that's when the marketing people were like, you need to change this and change that and change this and change that and change this and change that. And I was like, really? Because I don't know. I mean, unless they were like completely lying to me, which they seemed pretty nice and legit.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like you're just doing this to like do this, and then after that they were like, just you just send us stuff, and I like wanted to go like around them because they were giving me a really hard time, but I just figured that would probably I don't want to deal with that. So I will say the barrier is real, and they don't want you to talk to the company, and
because it justifies their position to like kind of, it's like having a friend. It's like, oh, can I get her number? No, you can't.
Yeah, no, sorry. And we're going to take the majority of the money when you're doing all the work. We're just telling you how to run your campaign.
Right. Oh, I just hope that a lot of these brands don't bite on that. And there'll be flashy presentations to try and lure them in because, they want to bring in the dollars and all that stuff. Yeah. So I'm just hoping that a lot of these brands are savvy enough to like, you can have your own, influencer marketing person, can be one person in your company. You should have one, quite frankly, at this point, if you don't already. And that person can do the outreach. They can do all the same stuff that you're paying these agencies and stuff to do. And not saying that they're all bad. I just know that a lot of them kind of are the same. Yeah. Well, they're all kind of the same. I mean, their business model is all the same,
Yeah.
They stopped trying to lock people up under long-term contracts and take, percentages of their revenue, because there was so many horror stories that revolved around that. So now they're just, doing it as a one-off type deals. But yeah, like I mentioned, one of the brands that I really liked, that I worked with. I use air quotes that I worked with them, because, like I said, I never even had direct contact with them. And this was several years ago, and I still to this day have no idea what the brand thought of the content that I did for them. I thought it was great, but I never heard anything, and I've never had any conversation with them since. And it's unfortunate, because I really like that brand and I do want to work with them, but they chose to kind of work through an intermediary, a digital marketing agency or whatever. And I don't know. I never, I have no feedback. I have no anything, and that sucks. I think that
it does.
I think that's a crappy way to work.
Especially because you work hard on it and you want it to be good because you believe in that company, and then you don't get any recognition about it, and it stinks. And it's not that you need like an amazing pat on the back, you did amazing job, but just like a little something, so that they saw it and they liked it and you did good for them, like, would just be nice. And I just feel like they're taking like the old school, like, business aspect of like talking and like forming a relationship out of it, and it makes it kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's very like personal.
It eliminates that, the networking and all that stuff, right? That's why I hope like some of the brands just come, like I said, like don't work through these people, and they actually show up to events like Workbench Con and have actual boots on the ground, and like invest directly. And it's so far it's been that way, but there's only been a couple kind of suspect entities that have kind of worked their way in, but I think you'll see more and more of them. So it's going to be kind of dependent on us, I think, as creators to kind of rally together and be like, no, we're not going to do this. It's like a creator's bill of rights. It's like, no, I'm not going to take $75 for something you're clearly
taking and it's funny because the company that I know that they're a big company, and like what I was offered was nowhere near what I said, and they asked, and I did my normal, price that any other company that I work with is, once I form that relationship, is okay with. And there's a couple of websites, like Social Blue Book and stuff, where you can look that stuff up. So if you want to like kind of figure out a number for yourself, and I didn't get anywhere near that. And I was like, you know what? Okay, cool. I'm going to build a relationship with them. It's going to be great. It will be fine. The company seems chill. My cousin, who is in marketing, knew of the company and was like, oh yeah, they're okay. And then nope, it was not what I signed up for, and it was not good. And it just left a very dirty taste in my mouth with them. So, with that being said, be careful with them. I'm not saying they're all bad, like Aaron said, but just be careful, because you want to form that relationship and have an ongoing relationship. So with that being said, we are done with today's show. That was a great little topic. But Aaron, for our viewers, thank you for being here. How can they get in touch with you if they have any questions?
You can find me on Instagram. You can send me a direct message. I'm pretty active on there, at Mr. Fixit DIY. Or you can go on my website, mrfixitdiy.com, and I think you can send me a submission form or anything if you have any questions there, or send me an email. All my information is listed there where you can find me, but I'm pretty active on all the social media platforms for the most part. So yeah, feel free to hit me up wherever.
Perfect. Sounds good. And what about you, Drew?
I am very active on Instagram and YouTube, and my main point of contact can go through my website, which is rhwoodshop.com. All my contact info is there, so pretty easy to get a hold of me.
Nice. And you guys, if you want to get a hold of me, I'm super active on Instagram. You can shoot me a DM or also send me an email. My website is up and it has a submission form kind of, so you can, I know, but not like completely up, but it is up.
Nice.
So you can shoot me a message over there as well. For the podcast, you can also email us at kickback@woodshop101podcast.com. And then also, guys, make sure you leave us a cool voicemail. We love getting the voicemails. Our voice memo through voice memo app, or you can call 409-234-3959 and go leave us a voicemail. It's our favorite. So that wraps up today's show, guys. It was great. It was awesome.
Had fun.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
We do this fun little sign off. Drew and them thought of it before my time. So if you want to lead that, Drew, you can go ahead and lead it.
Okay. Well, Aaron, I came up with this back whenever I started doing YouTube. Jeremy wanted me to adopt it for this show. So all we do is a great big boom at the end. You may have heard it at Workbench Con a time or two. But I'll just give you the sign and we'll just let it go. So from Sam, myself, and Aaron, we want to wish you guys well. Please be safe in your shops. And don't forget, you will be able to catch Aaron on our next podcast episode. So that's it. 1, 2, 3.
2, 3.
Boom!
Boom! Nice. Nice job, guys.
How'd I do?